Well, good morning, Geneva College. Are we awake? Are we alive? Good, good, good. My text, I'm asked to give my testimony, but I almost never speak in public without some Bible there. Why would that be true? I can't imagine. Well, here's the text. One of my favorite verses, I preached it many times. It's from 1 Timothy, written around maybe 60-something AD. It's verse 15. Here is a trustworthy saying that deserves full acceptance. Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners, of whom I am the worst. Now, when I preach this in churches, I have congregation repeat the last phrase, of whom I am the worst. Can you say that with me? Of whom I am the worst. All right, well, here's the story. The first time I read the New Testament, I read it so I could reject it and be a better unbeliever. Yeah, I was all of 15 and snarky. And I read the New Testament to fulfill a promise to a friend. We were at Boy Scout camp. We were 14. We were fixing up the camp that spring, probably March or April, for the summer onslaught of 400 Boy Scouts a week. And we discovered, the two of us, my friend Paul, not Paul the Apostle, another one, and my friend Paul and I discovered that we had both left the church. And we wanted nothing to do with the church. In fact, I had even requested of my family's church office that they take my name off the roll. That's how strongly I felt about it. I thought that Christianity was churchianity and the church was nothing to pay attention to. So Paul and I agreed that we were not Christians, we were not going to be Christians, but to be better intellectually justified unbelievers, we should reject Christianity from the source. And that meant reading the New Testament and reading it as skeptics. So that's what I did. All one summer, I was 15 now. I read the New Testament night by night for about 10 weeks, finished the whole New Testament, finished the letter to the Romans in one night, thought, okay, I'm done with that. Yeah, I've spent years pondering the letter to the Romans since. All right, I'm done with that. Finished the very bewildering book of Revelation, I think, in 3 nights. And by early August, I'd read all the New Testament. Okay, done with that. Intellectually justified unbeliever. Well, that fall in school at Penn Hills High School. Any Penn Hills kids out there? Pittsburgh area, Penn Hills? Surely we have a couple. Okay, so we had, I think, 1,198 students in my graduating class. We had this immense school. And 11th grade curriculum, public school, Pennsylvania, probably still true. You read early American literature. So we read, Puritans from Boston from the 1600s. I think the one author was the famous Increase Mather on the sins of gynecandrical dancing. Go look it up some later time. We read Jonathan Edwards' famous sermon, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God, which left no impression on me. We read stories about Puritan England, such as Young Goodman Brown, The Scarlet Letter, both by Nathaniel Hawthorne. We read The Crucible by Arthur Miller about the Salem witch trials written in the 1950s about the communist scare and the blackballing of those who were suspected communists. Okay, we're reading all this. And while reading The Scarlet Letter, we got into a debate in class with my English teacher, who I later discovered was an RP, Charles Marshall. We got into a discussion about the ethics of marriage and divorce and such things, and there was confusion as to what the Christian tradition taught about this. So I'd read the Gospel of Matthew. I have a weird memory that remembers strange details even from long ago, and I was able to quote what Jesus said from Matthew's Gospel about the ethics of marriage. And I quoted it in class, or closely paraphrased it. I did not quote it as religious authority. I quoted it as a report of what the New Testament said. All right, now I was one of the science nerds in my high school. I had the glasses, the braces, the pocket protector, the 37 pencils, and the slide rule. Yeah, not the calculator, the slide rule in those days. I was doing probably something like Chem 100 and advanced biology, and I was going to be a zoologist and follow the footsteps of my childhood hero, who was, are you ready? Drum roll, please. Charles Darwin. Okay, my childhood hero, Charles Darwin. By the way, I still respect Darwin in many, many ways. All right. So I quoted the New Testament to report what Christians thought. Well, word went through my high school that, that strange fellow, Byron Curtis, he's now quoting the Bible. This was a very strange occurrence, at least from my reputation at the time. And the next day, as I'm heading into lunch, one of the other 4.0 students, we kind of knew who we were. There were about a dozen of us. One of the other 4.0s came up to me as I'm heading into the lunchroom and says, "Byron, I hear that you're a real Bible-quoting Christian." Well, I was astonished. Now, I'm a stutterer. You usually can't tell, but I'm a stutterer. And after several moments of shocked silence, I began to stutter a reply. And eventually I stuttered out the words, this wonderful confession of faith. Here it is, okay. Great confidence here. Well, I guess I am. Yeah, that was my Billy Graham altar call moment. Yeah, not down on the knees, not down the sawdust trail, not the altar call, not church. They're standing in the hallway outside the lunchroom in Penn Hills High School. Well, I guess I am. And I was astonished that what my friend said was true. Well, that's been the definition of my life ever since. All right, it's a trustworthy saying, worthy of all acceptance, that Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners, of whom I am the worst. Now, some years ago here at the college, a student, a young lady named Faith, came to me and was troubled by the temptations that plagued her. And I ended up writing for her a sonnet. I confess my sins. I write sonnets. Dare I read it to you? It's only 14 lines. That's all that sonnets are. Iambic pentameter, 8 lines of problem, 4 lines of solution, concluding rhymed couplet and paradox. All right, there's a sonnet. It's called On Faith. I named it for her, On Faith. Faith. That word lays claim to a grace both great and good, the grace by which we stand, as stand we should. It links like chain our poor and mortal plight to heaven's throne, till mercy yields its might, and earth moves heaven by heaven's mighty gift. So Archimedes' lever even stars must lift, and he bends low who is triune majesty to look upon the faith that makes us free. Though mortal minds may shift with time and tide and lose clear sight of how they must confide, the one in whom we trust proves faithful ever, and he who never fails avails forever. Stand true to that word, and faith unaltering proves. Yet even faltering, faith shall not be moved. It's a trustworthy saying, worthy of all acceptance, that Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners. Say the last phrase with me, of whom I am the worst. Thanks be to God.